Let's look at factoring a trinomial with a leading coefficient that is not 1 or prime. So here I have 10n squared plus 23n plus 6. First thing you always do check is if your terms have a common factor. 10, 23, and 6 do not all have the same common factor. So now I'm going to use my box method. So I've got my first, my last, and then my middle. Let's fill in that information that we know. So I've got 10n squared, 6, and then 23n. So if I multiply across the top row, I've got 10n squared times 6, which is 60n squared. Now, I need my two numbers here. They're going to multiply to give me that 60n squared, but then they're going to add to give me this number out here. If you go through some of your factors of 60, you have 1 and 60, 2 and 30, 3 and 20. Well, 3 and 20 is going to end up working for us. So I've got 20n and 3n. Okay, now let's look at my other two numbers. I've got that 10 and 6 that I need to come up with its factors. For 10, my factors are 1 and 10 or 2 and 5. Okay, let's look at those two options. If I used 2 and 5, I could put my 2 here with 20, or I could put my 5 here because both 2 and 5 are factors of that 20. Now, if I was still using that 2 and 5, they wouldn't be able to go here because neither of those are factors for 3n. So for 10n squared, I'm going to have to try that 10n here because 10 would be a factor of 20n, and then 1n because that's a factor of 3n. So 1n times 3 gives me 3n, and 10n times 2 gives me 20n. 3 times 20 gives me 6. So because in every direction my multiplication works, when I circle my diagonals, that would be my factored polynomial. So 10n plus 3 times n plus 2. Let's do another one as well. Here I've got 6n squared plus 7n minus 90. Again, I need to fill in my first, my last, and then my middle. So my first term was 6n squared, my last term was negative 90, and my middle term was 7n. 6n squared times negative 90 will give me negative 540n squared. I need two numbers to multiply to give me negative 540 and add to give me a positive 7. Since they're multiplying to give me negative 540, one of them will be positive and one will be negative. Going through your factors of 540, and you're going to have to play with quite a few numbers here. Eventually you'll find you'll get 27n and negative 20n. Positive 27 times negative 20 gives me negative 540, and positive 27 minus 20 gives me that 7n. All right, let's fill in the rest here. For 6n squared, my factors are 6 and 1 or 3 and 2. Now, if I'm looking at 6 and 1, 6 is not a factor of 27 or 20. So I'm going to have to go with 3 and 2. 3 is a factor of 27, and 2 is a factor of negative 20. So I'm going to use 3n and 2n. 2 times negative 10 would give me negative 20, and 3 times 9 gives me 27n. Check that up, this gives me negative 90, so I've got negative 10 times positive 9 gives me negative 90. We're going to circle our diagonals now, and I get 3n minus 10 times 2n plus 9.